Welcome to the Noble Ape podcast, Ape Reality. I'm Tom Barbley, and today, only really one big bit of news, and that is I have done a good portion of, but not all of, a development of the Noble Ape simulation for the iPad. And I did this in large part because of the Objective-C group that I'm currently, convening, holding, what have you. Anyway, I wanted a real-world application associated with iPad developments, and the Noble Ape simulation seemed to be the right choice. It only took me 3 evenings, so probably 6 hours total of work in order to get a version of the Noble Ape simulation running on the iPad. Obviously, the additional user interface components and actually getting something which feels like it's supposed to be running on the iPad is slightly different, particularly with regards to the kind of multi-finger touch, and also interactions like turning the weather simulation, or the viewing of the weather simulation, more importantly, on and off, and how to interact with the Ape Brain simulation running in the view window. So all these things need to be tuned out, but a remarkably easy port. And for folks who have the Xcode iPad, iPhone development environment, all the source code is being stored in SourceForge. Listening to Ape Reality, you probably get the sense that there is just a lot of bits and pieces going on, and it's almost like a stock market in terms of how these things are basically developed and the order in which they take. And that's really historically been the case, certainly as long as I've been recording Ape Realities, that's been the case. My thinking currently is the writing from 1993 is getting to the point where, with a couple more evenings' work and possibly a bit of a weekend, it will be ready to get to agents, so that has relatively high priority. The Noble Warfare integration is something else that I'm looking at, and I have a chapter due in early June. So these are my 3 things that I'm working on currently, 4, I guess, if you include the iPad development. So that's the kind of order, and I'm flitting between them as I see fit. I'm slowing down my podcast recording. I'm doing one, not this weekend coming, which will be the weekend of the 1st of May, but actually the following weekend, just to give me a little bit more time to cut down on some of this backlog that seems to be building up. Like I say, the history of these Ape Realities has always been some kind of forward projection, some kind of current development, but the iPad version is certainly a go project. It's going to be quite interesting to see how the development is accepted on the iTunes store and these kind of things. But my suspicion is probably around the same time frame that I'll be talking at Intel and SRI, which is the middle of July, is probably about the time that it might be reaching maturity, with the view that I've finished the chapter early June, and hopefully we'll have the 1993 writing to multiple agents for review in a similar time frame. As these things come together, I will continue to update via Ape Reality. Really, the source code speaks for itself. So if you're interested in getting a sense of the iPad development, go to the SourceForge Noble Ape project page, go to the developer section, and you can download the source as a tarball through Subversion. The Subversion directory is the one that I'm actively updating with regards to Noble Ape development. I really need to do a release of the simulation in a similar time frame. I'm kind of thinking that I should just do a release with kind of beta version or in-progress development version drop or something like that, some kind of warning to people that the Noble Ape simulation is not really a standard kind of release state, but I just wanted to get the source out there in a compiled form. And I think the Windows and the Mac version are similarly lamenting currently. It's quite ironic because these were the 2 versions that I used to maintain with some vigor. Well, now the additional features and movement into Cocoa, now this iPad version seems to be keeping a lot of that development at bay. There are probably only maybe 4 or 5 issues that are yet to be fixed, and they seem actually quite similar on both Mac and Windows, although they're distinctly different in operational terms in terms of the causes and the fixes. Somewhere into this kind of mid-July pool goes the next release of the Noble Ape simulation, but as it is currently, the main tasks I have aside from the iPad are both writing-related tasks. I haven't yet purchased an iPad. I should probably make that clear as well. My feeling is that I probably won't purchase one until the application is just about ready for submission onto the iTunes store, just so I can do a final run-through, sense the actual feel of the application. That also fits into the time frames that I've discussed. Yes, relatively busy time in the Noble Ape development. I'm actually spending quite a bit more time with the source code currently, which is good. And yes, my hope is I'll be able to talk more about this 1993 writing, potentially through this podcast, potentially through another, because I think the 1993 writing is really the prelude to the Noble Ape development, but not something I really discuss. I mean, it's not been part of my modern narrative, and really I think when the Noble Ape development started, I pretty well put a bookmark in that 1993 experiences, which is why it's so, I don't know, strange in some quite surreal sense to come back to this writing, and also at the same time find a whole lot of audio around that period as well. So I kind of feel I'm submerged in two separate universes, intellectual universes, in my after-hours development at least, and and many, many more iterations in the other aspects of my life. So anyway, a relatively brief ape reality. I just wanted to give an update with regards to the Noble Ape simulation running on the iPad. My hope is that with the integration of Noble Warfare, there may be an integration of these in a similar time frame too, so maybe I won't just release the Noble Ape simulation on the iPad, I will also release Noble Warfare. Keep the digits firmly twisted. If you listen to this podcast, do you have any questions, any comments? I do appreciate that I don't typically record detailed information associated with the Noble Ape development in the later Ape realities. It's more a kind of update development audio blog. It is what it is. If you have questions associated with the Noble Ape simulation, you want a greater insight in particular aspects of cognitive simulation, maybe even the weather simulation or Ape script or anything like that, the way to get this out on the podcast is to email me a question, because for specific questions I can talk at some length, and really that's what's going to be occurring in the Bay Area in the mid-July time frame. Thank you very much for tuning into this podcast. Look forward to you tuning into the next podcast.